how's it going? Osazi here, back for another devlog of Skeleton Hell. We made a lot of really good progress the past 2 weeks. The most notable thing being making the game actually playable, as in like you can win the game and beat the game, and depending on whether you win or lose, you can actually restart the game as well. So yeah, that's pretty core to, getting the game up and running, but yeah. So now that that's in place, we also have a lot of things that are built around that core gameplay loop, essentially. So to describe the gameplay loop before I go into detail, the idea is that you are, as you might know from previous videos, a skeleton in this kind of skeleton jail. We call it skeleton hell, basically. And so your goal is to essentially collect all of your organs and ascend back to the overworld in order to reclaim your humanity. So that is kind of the game in a nutshell. So it's multiplayer, really cool. You can play with your friends, hop in there, search for all the organs, and then the goal is for everyone to get those organs and extract to the top of the sanctum, basically, which is what we just been calling the dungeon. That was kind of the original name of the game idea. Yeah, so in addition to that core gameplay loop, I'd like to also show off some interesting levels that I worked on in the past, as well as to show kind of the state of the game right now, where we have everything that's coming together from the art that Ainoa made, as well as Justin's art, which is going to be in here soon as well, in addition to the organs and the dirty bubbles and that logic that Evan coded as well. So it's really cool coming to this point in the project where we can see everyone's work culminating into the complete and finished thing. So I think that I will start by hopping into the game and just giving a walk around. So hopefully everything works. Let's see how it goes. So this is our new, basically, main menu screen. Very bare bones, but it really kind of sets the vibe for when you're first entering the game, like, oh, what kind of game am I going to be playing? Skeleton Hell. So let's start as a host. Okay. So a lot of minor changes with this update, especially since I did not get to post this video last week. It's going to be like double the size, basically. There are a lot of simplifications and additional information for the user to see, or the player to see, when they first enter. So the first thing is these button prompts. So E is going to be kind of the interact key for things in the game by default, but planning to add some feature to let people change their controls to allow for more accessibility. So yeah, E is how you open the doors. I'm not sure if this was shown in a previous devlog. I think it was. As well as how you pick up bones. So there's like a new little prompt that pops up when you're hovering over the bone to let you know, oh, that's how you pick it up. Yep, so 8 bones is currently our max. And one thing that we added too, because we found this feedback, or this kind of, yeah, this feedback that we experienced when we played the game, was that it really sucks when you don't have any bones that you can use. So like, I'm right now in a state where I can't really play the game because I have no bones, so I can't move or do anything. Of course, what we added now is this little bone regen mechanic, essentially. And so what happens is you pretty much generate bones every few seconds, and that allows you to become able-bodied again, let's say. So now you can actually start moving around again, so you're not stuck in a position where if you have no bones, then you're kind of just stuck and the game comes to a kind of an awkward standstill. Yeah, so that was kind of a big addition to the game, I think, as far as mechanics goes. This new area that we're in right now is also going to be probably the base area that we're going to release the game with, that you start in. So the idea here is that you and your friends are these skeletons that spawn in these holding cells, essentially. And so in these holding cells, all of these have like a player spawn in them. You spawn, you get the basic controls, press E to open the door, and then you can, from there, jump onto this platform and begin exploring the area. So with this, we can see that there are 2 paths. So this first one is kind of the old original tutorial area that I did a few weeks ago. So just kind of moved it here, and this is the idea was to convey this as a tutorial area, but what I found from the playtest that we did with some people earlier this week was that it's not very clear that this is like a tutorial space versus like the main start of the game space when you're like a new player entering the game. So that was some pretty critical feedback, and I think that it would be good to maybe add something like some kind of note, or like maybe I was thinking like a stone slate here to pretty much give the players like an introduction to the game when they first join, and instructions on how to actually play the game, because it's not very clear. Even with the new objectives that were thrown in here, it's still there's a lot of visual clutter, I think, right now, so it's easy to take away from like, what am I supposed to be doing? But yeah, so that's kind of the tutorial area here, and then that's more or less the same in here. This is supposed to just teach people how to crawl, basically. Tutorial glyphs need to be updated to reflect this, though. Right now, they're still a little outdated. Yeah, so let us jump up in here and get to the interesting part, which is the actual sanctum itself. So, the idea here was like, maybe I can like subtly communicate to the players that I want them to throw a bone at the skull. And some people figured this out, but it's still not as intuitive, so I think adding that stone slate in the middle will really help with that. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw this to start the game. So throwing the bone at the skull will initiate that, and then we'll see that we hear a very ominous noise. Our objective is now updated, and the clock is ticking. Not very clear that it's ticking though, so need to figure out some ways to add some more pressure to the players and indicate like, oh, time is of the essence right now. Cool. So this is the first level of the game that you enter when you leave the skeleton holding area, which is like the jail cells. So in this level, basically there are some organs that will spawn here, and your goal is to essentially, collect all the organs that are generated throughout the sanctum itself. So these jail cells are all interactable. You can go into each one, lock yourself in. Pretty funny. And yeah, another piece of critical feedback that was received for the game during the playtest was these puzzles are not very intuitive. So this is not a good enough hint to let you know like, oh, you're supposed to throw at the green flame to activate the, open the gate basically. So I hope to, add some more puzzles potentially in the future someday. But as they are now, I think they'll just be. Yeah, so these are the rest of the cells, the bone clams, as we saw. I know it was an amazing model. And let's find the other brazier so we can activate that other puzzle. There we go. I'm gonna grab my heart. So I have a brain and a heart right now. So another cool thing that was retained through all of the updates was these collapsible floors. So you're walking as a player, boom, you collapse and you fall in here. And so this is the sewer area. So generally when you fall through the floor, this is the area that you will end up at. So much darker than the previous above ground like jail cell levels and such. And there's actually an enemy in here, the Kraken, which I demonstrated in very early devlog, but brought back for this section of the game. So you can hear that little, he was like rumbling in the background, preparing for his emergence. So I'm gonna hang out for a minute and wait until he appears, wherever that might be. Okay, there he is. It's quite a quite a startling sound they make, and so when he catches you, he kills you basically. Very simple mechanic. Yeah, so that's essentially him. chases you through the sewers, so that's exciting. Definitely like the dramatic entrance that he has right now. Really enjoy that. And as you saw while we were down there, the lights slightly changed colors, so now things are getting a little bit more red. And this basically, the goal and the intent was to indicate that the passage of time is happening to players, so that they're like, oh no, what does it mean when things are getting like more red? But in practice, it actually wasn't very clear that that's what was happening. So yeah, so in the future, I think maybe making the most clear and the most obvious time changes that are not like those sounds in this hourglass would definitely help with playing the game and understanding what's happening. That time is moving on. So let's go check out the next area. Oh, I hear an organ in the sewer. Where is it though? Oh, they dropped on my dead body. That's what happened. Yeah, game is in a... it could be in a better state than it is. Okay, I guess I got the brain too. Interesting. Okay, let's check out the next area. And I think I came in through that one, so let's go here. Okay, so this is the Panopticon pit. Very heavily inspired from Evan's original... Oh my god! Of course. Inspired by Evan's original Panopticon level. Essentially what we have here are this elevation, basically. So the goal is, as a player, the hope was like, oh, you would come in here and see like, oh, you want to climb to the top. It's still not communicated very well to the player that that's where they should be going, I would say. So yeah, in future iterations, it would be nice to, you know, really spell it out, just to make sure that, you know, players aren't lost when they come into an area such as this. As you can see, this is also a hazardous area because we have those dirty bubbles patrolling. These are of the ghost bubble variety. Although I think Evan's still working on bounding them to this area. So yeah, work in progress still. Yeah, and I fell on one of these collapsible floors earlier. So this will just take you back down to the sewer. And yeah, so let's keep it going. Let's head back up to the next and somewhat final area, I think. So we come out of here, and we'll enter through this portal, and this will take us to the dirty bubble rooms. So here we'll see some of the dirty bubble enemies spawning that Evan created. Oh man, alrighty. This is a very peculiar hole spawn, so I'm just gonna jump over this, and I'm gonna try looking for some organs in this room while evading the dirty bubbles. Oh, and there's so many in here. I don't know why there's so many. So currently how the bubbles work right now is we throw a bone to lure them away. But I was not expecting all 5 spawns to be in this room, so the procedural generation, the random generation of levels could use some work. Yeah, that is a code red room. Let's try to get these organs here. So we got liver, and was that a stomach, I think? Yes, lungs. So the last organ I'm missing is the stomach. So let's check in this room. Yeah, all the dirty bubble spawns were in that one large room, so definitely want to constrain that better in the level randomizer. Yeah, so really like this area with like the doors and stuff. Adds a little bit more variety to the game from the jail cell level, basically. So let's see. Yep, Hello, guys. Don't mind me. Just the dev looking for the... Okay. Oh, okay, and yep. So I drop all my organs when I die. So let me quickly return back to that area. I'll actually use my dev cheats. So I can quickly get back here and collect... Okay, the entrance is right behind me. And collect those organs that I dropped. Yeah, so one of the feedback that we got from the game as well was the bubbles are too hard. Yeah, so as you can see, it's pretty easy for me to die to them. So we're working on tweaking them a little bit in that regard. I guess I'll show off the final area again. And this is pretty much the same as the what we saw in earlier iterations of the game, which is this like final top area. And so this here is the, not this one, but the next one over. This is the top of the sanctum right now, basically. And so when you get here, you can only pass if you have enough organs. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself organs so that I can actually make it through. Time's running out and all. And so I'll just go into my cheats and do that. Awesome, I'm organed up. And so now when I walk in here, I am in this white room, and boom, the game over screen appears. So I'll get a very different message, of course, if I actually did not make it here with all my organs in time. So that is pretty much the whole game in a nutshell. Let's take a look behind the scenes with some of the what's happening with the levels and stuff. So we already got a sense of the hub scene. So we just have these skeleton holding cells basically, and we spawn into these. Each of these has like a player spawn in them, and of course the old tutorial area is there. Now the levels are all being generated with these this extension of this, I guess, algorithm that I was able to find as an asset on the Unity store. So it basically is the maze generation algorithm that was shown in earlier devlogs, but the difference now is that I extended a lot of like functionality to them to make it so that it's able to make like rooms and like long hallways, and also throw on the portals and the puzzles. So going in here, this is what the rooms look like when they're spawned. This is the hallway, and then this is another room. So this one actually generated with 3 rooms. So hopefully the dirty bubbles will be more. Let's see the gizmos so we can tell. So yeah, these are the potential spots for the dirty bubble spawns, essentially, and also organ spawns. So they're just marked with these. And for this particular level, it only happens in the rooms. So nothing will spawn in the hallway sections, only in the room sections. So yeah, learning how to use these gizmos was pretty invaluable because it definitely helped with like seeing where things were placed with these random generation algorithms and stuff. And even just things that are just going to be invisible to the player but need to be able to see from a development perspective. So yeah, so that's the dirty bubble rooms. There's also the panopticon pit. So it basically generates this type of structure. So it's an extension of the same algorithm, just different parameters to do that. And as you can see, the way that it's generated on the inside changes. And these bridges are also randomized, so very cool. And right now I have the bubble spawns just fixed in this level for now. Yeah, no need to, it's not really too consequential where they're placed here, so just have them in just a fixed location. The sewer halls use a slightly different algorithm, so it doesn't create any rooms, it just creates some interlocking halls in this type of structure. And when you go inside of the sewer, this is pretty much what it looks like without all of the Let me turn off the gizmos. They can be a little in the way sometimes. But yeah, this is how it looks like without all of the lighting effects. So with lighting, very cool. Without lighting, kind of boring, kind of dry. And then the last is the jail cells. So we draw them, and these are also randomly generated. And so, yeah, from the top view, the structure of this looks pretty much the same, but when we go inside, we can see that things like the orientations of the cells and what type of obstacles and decor in the hallways gets varied. Yeah, probably also a good time to talk about the way that these are stitched together. So essentially, the system that is in place right now is using some prefabs, sanctum, floor. So these are the different floor variations that are being spawned. They're essentially these tiles for the floor, but I just threw some obstacles on them to add a little bit of, yeah, decor and visual interest so that it's not kind of just like the same old walls. And yeah, same thing goes for the walls. We only saw these wall variations in the, um, yeah, probably more so just in the dirty bubble rooms, but this is a wall with a creepy looking painting. This is the basic wall of a torch. This is a wall with the door that we saw in the dirty bubble rooms area. And there is one jail cell wall, which is this one. So same kind of door prefab. It's an extension of the wall with door, except I just replaced the door mesh with this jail cell mesh. So using these prefabs as building blocks, it really made it easy to kind of generate the levels, which I think level design and generation was like one of the main like challenges that I saw with kind of designing a game like this. So I think that was probably from a technical perspective my biggest lesson learned was the best way to efficiently do this and how to extend it to create different types of these random generated levels. And so of course they're not very nice looking right now or varied, but I like that the foundation is here so that it's easy to extend off of it basically and then create, yeah, very detailed different variations of these types of levels and stuff. So yeah, really looking forward to bringing in like Justin's level assets so that we can see just how cool things will look with these like more finely detailed level structures. Yeah, so I think that just about covers everything that was new. Very excited. So our next steps are to kind of just wrap up some final touches on the game and then push it to Steam and let that be kind of, yeah, our first major portfolio piece. I think everyone learned a lot of really cool and exciting things from the project, and it seems like we're all very eager to, yeah, apply our skills and our knowledge in future projects as well. So yeah, stay tuned for what we'll come up with next, and yeah, take care.